Hello, everybody. It's about that time. Welcome to your workshop. This is a mindset shift workshop, super powerful. It's one of my latest and greatest, and I haven't taught it in a while, so I'm excited to be here with you guys. I see 18 people in the room. Awesome. Usually within the first 5 minutes, we have some new people join on. But for those of you who are on time and ready to go, if you could find the Q&A section, not the chat box, but the Q&A section. That's where you will type your responses, and that's where if you feel inclined to go ahead and introduce yourself, and let me know if you've taken a workshop with me before. If you haven't, there is a raise hand feature at the top. You can go ahead and raise your hand and let me know if I'm meeting you for the first time. My name is Alecia, and I've been teaching these workshops with 99 since 2020. So it's kind of crazy. It flew by. My experience comes from my fashion industry experience as a model. I started modeling in 2016. And so that makes me a 10-year seasoned professional. Although one of the reasons why I love this business is because it's always challenging you to grow and adapt and do new things and develop new skills. So everything that I've learned as a beginner when I was in your shoes and everything that I continue to learn, I always circle back and pop them right back into these workshops. And it is just like the best way for me to give back everything that I've learned. I always use the analogy that when I first started modeling, I was like a sponge and I was just absorbing all of the knowledge. And so, for that, I want you guys to think of yourself as a sponge when you are in my workshops. There's a lot to learn. And if you have been to one of my workshops before, they're a little different because nobody can really teach you how to model, how to act. You bring your own unique flair and approach to your talent and your skill set. But there is some foundational aspects that all of my workshops include. And this week I'll be here two more times. I think Saturday we're doing a skincare workshop if you can make it. But yeah, I just try to go over everything that's going to help give you guys as much information as possible. And this information is put together to help you guys feel good about what you're doing and the journey you're starting. And this industry kind of goes like this, up, down, up, down, up, down. And it's constantly changing. So that's kind of why I created this workshop because I kind of learned about halfway through, which might be a little late. So if you guys can learn it early on, even better, that your mindset really, really, really makes or breaks your career. So if you are intrigued at all, we will begin on how to take a little peek inside of our brain and try to help it. Um, this idea of having a healthy relationship with the business is kind of what I'm after for you guys because we experience rejection, slow periods, comparison, you name it. It's just kind of got a little reputation for being tough. And so I think when we have a healthy mindset and a strong mindset, and we are our own best friend instead of our own worst enemy, we can then attain success and a sustainable career and get that healthy relationship with ourselves and the business, which really sets you apart too. So I like to say that your career starts with your beliefs and just let you guys know, because I'm sure a lot of you guys are beginners, or maybe you did it in a long time ago and now you're returning back. Whatever your why is for why you are here, you might have already learned that this industry is going to bring you plenty of challenges. And so the goal here is that we build beliefs within ourselves that help us navigate these challenges rather than give up or feel defeated or feel less than. And then once we have these beliefs, we need to navigate these challenges relentlessly. If you guys know me, one of the things that I always tell you guys is just to keep showing up, keep pursuing, because one of these days something is going to land in your lap and you will be so happy that it did. So when we talk about mindset shifts, we are trying to shift from limiting to empowering. So I don't know if you guys have heard the term limiting belief before, but go ahead and raise your hands if you have. Anybody? Okay. Kind of like a new age concept. Um, at least it is for me. But these beliefs are focused primarily on lack, and they have a really good reputation for stopping you from pursuing, from trying, from growing, from changing, from even showing up. It's always going to be a belief that limits you. And an empowering belief is a belief that's focused on what you're building, not what you don't have or past experiences or anything that's going to hold you back. It's a belief on what is capable, what you are capable of, what is capable of happening for you. So these limiting beliefs pop up. It's psychologically, it's in our subconscious. It's super normal. Everybody really struggles with it. And sometimes it just runs on autopilot in the back of your mind before you can even bring your awareness to it. And bringing your awareness to it is really when it becomes something that you can kind of shift out of. Because, like I said, it just kind of runs on autopilot sometimes. And the best thing that we can remind ourselves is when they creep in the form of doubts, they're not facts. And so, yes, when you bring your attention to them, and not beat yourself for having them, because everybody kind of has that, especially when we're up against an industry such as modeling and acting. But it's important to recognize them, then we challenge them, and then we choose new beliefs that support our growth. So, is everyone following me? That is the shift that we are after, from limiting to empowering, to rather than let them run on autopilot, to actually confront them and face them and bring your awareness to them. So, I've compiled a list of actors and models that you guys may know, who have shared their own experience with limiting beliefs, with the specific mindset shifts that they were responsible, in that had a hand in their success. So, first and foremost, Viola Davis. Anybody recognize her? She is a powerhouse of an actress, and I believe she's won some awards. And when I present the actor, actress, let me know if you recognize them. Raise your hand, if you know who they are. Go ahead and drop in the Q&A any films maybe that you've seen them in. I remember watching her in How to Catch a Murderer or How to Stop a Murderer or something like that. And also in The Help. That was an epic movie. Okay, so obviously, once these actors are given the spotlight, people want to know how they did it. So they're in interviews, they're answering a lot of questions, they're on podcasts. And she opened up and shared that she didn't think that she was beautiful enough to be a leading woman. So imagine going through your whole acting training and always having this limiting belief that I'm always going to be a supporting actress because I just don't have the look. So that was what she was dealing with. And her shift was not apologizing for who she is. And you could totally read that in the way that she acts and her presence. She's owning her story, and that's her power. So part of her story is maybe struggling with that limiting belief. but then rising above it and then bringing that power to set that people can literally feel when they're around her. So that's what makes her have that star quality. That's why people are captivated by her acting. Zac Efron. Everybody knows, I don't know, High School Musical back in the day, but let's be honest, this gentleman here is what we call ripped, in shape, athletic, muscular. Now, imagine watching him on your movie and admiring the physique and, thinking that for you, maybe, oh, okay, well, that's what it really takes to be in a leading role, which we know it doesn't. But that's the art of comparison or whatever. But imagine switching into his mindset and thinking that he had to look quote unquote perfect for the world, or he had to be in some intense training program before he booked a role on a certain movie. So he was really focused on his exterior and trying to obtain this idea of perfection and believing that that's what gets you the roles. But his mindset shift that he opened up about was that perfection is not real. Being grounded is better than being shredded. I agree. This industry is home to so many different unique types of individuals. And so rather than get hyper focused on one trait, focus on being grounded, focus on your identity. And yeah, okay, Emma Stone. I saw a few hand raises. I remember her in La La Land with Ryan Gosling. And what was that movie? It was like totally a little rom-com about the letter A, like she wore the scarlet letter on her. That was an awesome movie. And I think she was in The Help as well. Anyway, brilliant. So she opened up about how she struggles with anxiety, and she always thought, I can't act. If I go to this audition, my anxiety is going to ruin my chances. And then her mindset shifted into what sets you apart can sometimes feel like a burden, but it's not. It's what makes you great. So, really shifting into accepting that part of herself, that she's just somebody who runs a little anxious. For me, I've had to accept that I'm somebody who's a little bit slow to warm up. And just takes knowing who you are and not treating these things like they're a burden, realizing that those are the things that make you you. Jennifer Lawrence, Hunger Games, anybody? And if you know anything about her personality, she's quite animated, comical, says whatever is on her brain. And it's almost like, some Hollywood stars have this like training of how to answer stuff, and she's just exactly who she is, and she's always joking. And she opened up and said that her personality was not going to make it in Hollywood because she wasn't quote unquote serious enough. And her shifted mindset was you have to show up like yourself, not like the person they want, which this 100% I can tell you is true. Winnie Harlow. Anybody know Winnie Harlow? She is a model. She has walked and did a lot of print for designers. I believe she was on America's Next Top Model, or Tyra Banks discovered her somehow. And she has a skin condition. And so, even though she had this dream in her heart to be a model and she loved fashion and she loved beauty and felt like she wanted to do it, it was her appearance and her skin condition that held her back and thought that no one would ever give her a chance because they wouldn't think that she was beautiful enough. And she totally let that go, and she's opened up a lot about it, that she doesn't have to define herself as a model who has vitiligo. Vitiligo? She's just a model. So stepping into that identity and not letting any circumstance hold you back. There's another one. Anybody know who Ashley Graham is? I mention her a lot in my workshops. She really kicked off on the scene in about 2016, which is right when I started modeling. That's when like the plus size industry was booming big. Um, and she serves as a role model for a lot of women, whether you are modeling or not, just to be confident in your skin. She really made waves in the fashion industry and helped change it. But she struggled. She had been modeling since she was 13. Imagine how many critiques and comments she has heard among the years with all the different fashion trends before plus size modeling was really a thing. But she always thought that her body shape and size was going to hold her back from what she wanted to do. And thank God she didn't, because I probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for Ashley Graham. She really helped me step into the industry because I saw her being a trailblazer and I was like, okay, here's my shot. But she shifted and said, I became unstoppable the day I stopped trying to shrink. And this is so true because now she has a wine company. She's wrote a couple books. She's just doing amazing. She's a sponsor for Revlon. She's hosted award shows and Miss America and America's Next Top Model. I could go on and on. I do love her and I love her book. Devin Aoki, do you guys recognize her? I first spotted her in Fast and the Furious. I'm a huge Fast and the Furious fan. Rest in peace, Paul Walker. But she's short. I don't know exactly how tall she is, but she's a petite lady, okay? She wanted to branch out from acting and get into the modeling world, but she didn't fit the tall, classic runway standard. Now she's been on tons of runways, and her mindset shift so confidently stated, I didn't change for fashion, I made fashion change for me. And that's one amazing thing to speak to about the industry too, is that it's always changing. And I always tell you guys, there's a place for everybody in this industry, if you're willing to fight for it and keep showing up. Lupita Nyong'o, do you guys know her? She's definitely made waves in the acting. She's won awards. She's elegant. She's beautiful. But there was a time that she didn't believe she was beautiful. She didn't fit the cookie cutter mold. And she shifted and said, beauty is not a thing I acquired. It's something I just had to believe. And I love that because truly does start with your beliefs, which is why we are in this workshop to learn about our beliefs and what our mind is telling us is true. So, what are some lessons that we can learn from them? I think that was like two handfuls of people who've had huge success in this industry. What are some lessons that we can learn from them? If you care to share, I am looking for your responses. Cruella. Yes, she was Cruella. That's crazy. Anybody? Be yourself. Geraldine, thank you. Yeah, be yourself. We also refer that to authenticity, being authentic. And I think acceptance is part of that, accepting who you are, your story, where you came from, your unique challenges, all of that. And I think one thing that we can learn from them too is that they have learned to separate external feedback from their internal identity. Um, Know yourself, be honest with yourself, get out of your head. Everyone has unique qualities, so be authentic. Don't let industry standards stop you, not to stop what your heart desires. You guys are on the money tonight, and I appreciate your participation. What we can gain in our career from acceptance and authenticity is that acceptance creates longevity. Owning your true self sustains a career, right? We want a sustainable career. And we want to have longevity in this industry. We don't want to give up. So, accepting truly who we are, where we're at, that's going to create that longevity. Owning your true self will help you sustain a career, and people can pick up on that. I've mentioned this before in my workshops, but like on a scale, when they measure the frequencies of emotions, uh, authenticity is the strongest one. So just know that authenticity puts out a frequency that people cannot ignore. And half the time, that's really what makes them want to work with you, versus having a long list of resume of what you've done and where you've been. And then, yeah, accepting yourself, not changing for anybody, and realizing that trends are going to change and who you are will always remain. So, when you think about pursuing modeling and acting, this is something you guys can share in the Q&A if you'd like. But maybe you want to take a picture of this so you can reflect on it in your personal time. But what thoughts show up? And I want you guys to assess, are they limiting? Are they empowering? And then look at each specific thought, maybe jot them down. And is it a fact or is it based in fear? And then try to go back and figure out, where did this belief that you hold first come from? A lot of it sometimes stems back to our early experiences in life and just how we were shaped and how we were nurtured, and things that have happened or experiences that we went through. Sometimes it creates a belief about ourselves or about life or about success that hinders our growth. And so if we can go back and get to the root of it, we can shift out of that and create a new story, right? Because that was then and this is now. So sometimes it just takes actively digging and kind of letting it go and like releasing it. And then assessing, is this belief helping you grow or is it keeping you safe? The ego plays a huge part in this, because the ego's job, and this is where all of our beliefs are pretty much held. The ego's job is to keep you safe, where they say, "Oh, are you really sure you want to do that? Because you could just do this and it would be comfortable and, wouldn't trigger our nerves so much. We wouldn't have to deal with any rejection if we just maybe stayed home and didn't audition for this." That's kind of how the ego talks to you. Do a little bit of research on the purpose of the ego. It's really fascinating. And then what would you believe instead if you trusted yourself? Which is kind of crazy to insinuate that these beliefs come up because we don't trust ourselves, but I will do a vulnerable share with you guys. I was summoned to walk for a swim week audition. And I had everything ready to go. I did my hair, I had my swimsuit on, and I called my agent and I just said, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. And of course, he's there to support me. But looking back on it, once some time has passed, I realized that that was rooted in some sort of fear where I didn't trust myself. My ego was saying, are you sure you want to strip down to your bathing suit and walk in front of a bunch of people? And you don't have any formal experience, so maybe you're not ready yet. Maybe you should get some training, and maybe you're too old. So all those limiting beliefs start creeping in, and that's what I mean by it's very real and it's very normal when you're in this business. And that's why you have to kind of shift out of that. And sometimes you have to let it happen before you can really learn from it and really overcome. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps and just go show up, right? So I still have moments like that where the limiting beliefs stop me. But my advice to you guys is always go for it. Feeling shy as a kid, thought I was ugly, wore glasses, couldn't see 2 feet ahead. Oh, and then at age 9 was vision restored. That can definitely be an experience that would make you afraid to be seen or afraid to step out or doubt your capabilities, but they are looking for somebody who has the unique life experience that you have. I promise you, the unique challenges that you've overcome. This is such a way to, in a creative industry, to inspire people. It's like when I worked in an office after college and I was working, Monday through Friday. I had, my consistency, my structure, my scheduling, my insurance, and all of that. I can't think of like a time where I was really inspired. But ever since stepping into this creative industry, and not to say that you have to give that up, two things can be true. You have to have stability for yourself, but recognizing the difference, I feel like when you're in the creative industry, there's so many things that are inspiration to you: film, fashion, photography, beauty, creativity, light. So that's really why I'm in the industry. It inspires me. And like I said in the very beginning, it's constantly challenging me, constantly challenging me. So we're going to go over the 10 powerful mindset shifts specifically that I feel we can shift into to help you guys become more magnetic and successful in this business. Number one, and I would love for you guys to use the raise hand feature if this is a thought that has maybe circled around in your brain before when we are talking about auditioning for roles and just being in this industry, right? Yeah, I feel like this is like the most common, and you wouldn't realize that this is actually a limiting belief. What you can shift into is I'm looking for aligned opportunities. So if it's not aligned, I don't want it. And I'm not going to sit here and hope that they pick me. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to audition for me. And I'm going to audition because I relate to the role and I'm hoping it's in alignment. And I'm not auditioning to please anybody. I'm just auditioning to show up and see if it's a good fit. Do you know how many models and actresses have auditioned for a role, went in for the callback, they got the job, and then they turned it down and they said, I just don't think it's in alignment with me. I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling the crew. And again, that speaks volumes of how true we are to ourselves. So always remind yourself that you are auditioning to create a match. And sometimes it's just kind of like dating too. Finding your match can be really hard. So take that, I hope they pick me energy out of the equation and show up more grounded and more empowered. Number two, I need to look perfect. No frizz on my head. Something I struggle with. Yeah, it's very common. I need to look perfect. Let me put some extra time. Let me maybe wear a different color that I don't normally wear. Let me put on a little bit of this gel in my hair and maybe I'll just do my hair a little bit different. And then you start getting into trying to change yourself to whatever vision of perfect you have that's not really in alignment with you and how you show up every day. So I want you guys to shift into I need to be real and I need to be present. If you're so concerned about looking perfect while you're auditioning, you are not being present and you're not being real. Casting directors are drawn to authenticity, always. So let your quirks, your soul, and your humanity come through. Number three, have you guys ever signed in to an audition where you had to physically show up in person and seen a list of names before you on the list? Anybody? Anybody? Or, just kind of observing the roles that they're open to and maybe your competition. I don't know how the auditioning process works, but sometimes you can literally look at the people who are also auditioning for the very same role. You sign in on a sheet, and this kind of limiting belief takes over, and it's like, boy, this is just going to boil down to me being a list on a pen and paper to a, I don't even know what I'm saying right now, just going to boil down to me being one of the people who showed up today on a list of names. But if you walk in empowered and don't let that affect you, know that your product is yourself. Okay. So once you start to think of yourself as a brand and a business, nobody can offer the services that you offer. They may try to do it in a different way, but you are there as your brand and your business, and you need to treat your career like you are the CEO. So walk in with that powerhouse energy. Don't be fazed by the other competitors, because every time you start a business, it requires risk. You know, there's other businesses out there who do the same thing as you, but you choose to confidently believe in your journey and your pathway. So, that being said, know how to position yourself, because talent alone won't sustain you. And I always like to remind you guys that sometimes it's not about being the most talented and experienced. Sometimes it's just about the way you carry yourself and your authenticity and your ambition. Number four, anybody. Rejection means I failed. You find out you didn't get the role, you go to bed and you say, gosh darn it, it feels a lot like failure, which I don't even really love this idea of failure. I feel like going back to school days, it's either like a fail or a pass. I think there's so much more that goes into deeming if something was a failure. But anyway, one thing that I've had to shift into specifically for me, and when somebody told me this, there was like a light bulb went off, but they said rejection is redirection and professional alignment. So it goes back to that auditioning to match. If they didn't pick you, it just means you're becoming aligned with what will fit. And that's really powerful, because no two journeys are the same. But one thing we all have in common is that we will hear no in this industry. But if you reframe it as like, oh, I've gotten, first of all, I saw a little snippet on Instagram and they were talking about, it was like one famous model. I want to say it was Coco Rocha, and she was saying that the average model hears no 63 times before they get a yes. And they were just comparing and contrasting it to new models who maybe hear no like 5 times and they totally give up. So just try to shift out of that and say, it's just a different direction I've got to go. That wasn't meant for me. And now that I showed up, I'm closer to getting a yes, right? Let's count the countdown of 63 castings. But also rejection is data, not a diagnosis. So it's not a diagnosis that you failed or that you're not good enough or that, you're not charming enough or talented enough. It's just data. I might not be right for this role. So trust the long game. There are new roles coming up daily. I don't know if you guys browse casting networks at all, but there are so many different roles, and some of them are better fits than others, but you still want to try. Especially if your agent sends you an audition, just try it. Number five, I need more experience. So this feeling of feeling like you don't want to put yourself out there because you don't have the experience. So you're afraid that you're not going to look as equipped as others with the experience. And I need you to shift out of that and remind yourself that you are learning every time you show up, every time you put yourself out there, every time you memorize a line, every time you submit a self-tape, you're learning. So you don't need to be perfect to start. You need to start to become great. I should probably reword that. You don't need to be great to start. You need to start to become great. for next time. But that's really powerful. I'm really resonating with that. So I might write that on my little expo board for the week. I like to write little affirmations, especially on my mirror in my bathroom too. And that's with anything. Everybody was once a beginner and everybody first took their first step. So you learn as you go. Anybody feel this thought creep in where you say, "Oh, I hope I'm blank enough." Insert the adjective, tall enough, young enough, old enough, experienced enough, talented enough, pretty enough, handsome enough, muscular enough. So, the shift that we need to do is to remind yourself that it's not your job to be any of that for everyone. It is your job to be fully yourself, and the right people will pick you because you are a right match for what they're looking for. So rather than try to change yourself or mold yourself to different roles, just be the best that you can be and show up confidently. The confidence is the key. Casting directors often book energy, not just looks or lines. So if you're sitting there saying, oh, well, maybe I'm not, I've looked at all of their models on their website and I don't really fit the mold, but they're asking me to audition and you go in with that doubt. Um, you are enough. It's like three powerful words. You are enough. I am enough. And one other great thing that I love to remind myself is that while I'm working, let's say you want to make changes within yourself, right? That's part of the human uh, experience, growth, evolution, change. Let's say you have goals for yourself that you want to shift into. One thing is to remind yourself that you are enough right now, right where you are, even while you are working towards where you want to be. Right now, right here, present moment, you are enough. So don't ever slip into this. I hope I'm blank enough because you are enough. Number seven, I struggle with this, or I used to, I guess, in the very beginning. I've definitely become a little bit more sure of myself, um, how to position myself on camera, how to just go with the flow and laugh at myself and not take it too seriously. But in the beginning, oh my gosh, as soon as I got on set, like the makeup, the wardrobe, and all of that was so fun. And then the pressure was on when you're on camera. And immediately I could feel the tension all over my body. And I've seen it too with models who are showing up at castings. They used to interrupt my day on set and hold an informal casting. So everybody would stop what they were doing. They would send a new model in and they'd give them a couple trial shots. And it's just kind of funny because you still have to loosen up a little bit. Like if you start off with a little bit of tension, it's not the end of the world. You will loosen up. But being really unsure of yourself is probably the most limiting thought that you can have. You need to go in realizing, I can still be new to this and be able to be sure of myself. So, reminding yourself, I think this is really what it boils down to. I shine. I shine everywhere. I'm light in every room. So I go up on that white set and everyone's looking at me and I don't know any of these people and they're snapping pictures every second of me. Remind myself that I'm bringing more than just skill. I'm bringing the light, the connection to the camera, the grounded body language, the confidence, the eye contact. And always remind yourself too that you are always auditioning on or off camera. So, how you carry yourself matters just as much as your performance. So, if you are showing up to a casting, make sure you say thank you, make sure you look people in the eye, confidently introduce yourself, and be sure of yourself and let yourself know that you have permission to shine, even if it's a little crunchy and it's a little uncomfortable and maybe a little intimidating. Give yourself the permission to shine instead of shrink, because I've been in those situations. And I didn't book those jobs because I was so unsure of myself. Number eight, I'm in competition. It is a competitive industry. It really is. This thought creeps up a little bit more in my head than I'd like to admit. And what I always try to do is just be happy for the people who are getting the jobs that I want or who are consistently working. I follow a lot of models that I've met along my journey, and they're booking, and I'm not right now. And so I think when you look at it as like, oh, I just can't handle the competition. Why are they getting it and I'm not getting it? What do they have that I don't have? How do I size up? Um, I don't know. Do we have any extremely competitive people in the room tonight? I get it. But in this industry, I feel like the more that you clap for people, the more that comes around like a boomerang. And reminding yourself that just because they're booking, they're in their own lane, doesn't mean that it's not going to happen for you either. Maybe you're going to book at a different pace. Maybe they've literally given up everything to put modeling first, and maybe you have other priorities. Maybe you have children, maybe you have a business, and this just might be happening at a different rate for you. So a win is a win, and it will come for you when it is your time. So reminding yourself that we all have room to win kind of takes the pressure off of feeling like you have to be a competitor. Why don't we all just be supporters of each other, right? Because the collaboration expands opportunities. Collaboration is a huge part of this creative industry. I just collaborated with a photographer. Every time you show up to work, you're doing a collaboration. And so that expands your opportunities. Number nine, we're almost to the end, guys, almost to the end. Send me some fire emojis or hands up, smile faces if you guys are still with me. We have probably another 10 minutes left. Number nine, I have to be what they want. So they send a little description of in the casting what they're looking for, an age range from 30 to 40. Um, they sometimes will list certain features or backgrounds that they're looking for. I encourage you to audition anyway. If you are a little bit older than 40 and you feel like you could pass for the younger version, go for it. Sometimes they change the role description of what they're looking for because they found somebody that they really match with. Maybe they were looking for a brunette, but then you auditioned and they totally changed course and said, nope, she's going to be blonde. Either way, go into it with the mindset that they're lucky to get to watch your self-tape. Sounds a little cocky, but that's that self-worth. That's that foundation that we need. That's that energy we have to carry, that self-belief that we have to have that's going to give us momentum and sustainability in this career. So every time you submit, instead of thinking, oh, I'm not what they want, or I didn't do this, or I can't do that, just say they're lucky to get whatever I give them. I don't know if you guys have seen that that trend. I don't know, it's kind of old, but I used to say, this summer is gonna get whatever body I give it. I just saw a spider crawl across my floor and now I'm freaking out. Okay. All right, we got this. We're gonna continue. And then I'm gonna get my flip-flop and I'm gonna find that thing. Next up. Next up. Practice and build your magnetism. Stop shrinking. Start showing up as your full, unforgettable self. Number 10. I'm still waiting on my big break. Oh my gosh. Now I feel like I'm seeing it in the corner of my eye. Okay. I'm still waiting on my big break. It's often something that people say in this industry, like, oh, this big break is coming for me. would you know that that is a limiting belief? Because every job that you do leads to something more, and you create your own momentum. So it could be a small little local job that you did for a small little brand with a small little budget, but you were able to network and meet 5 people who are working on bigger projects who were so impressed with you that they are now going to stay connected with you on Instagram or social media, and they're going to share your posts and recommend you and send you information on other projects coming up. So, I want you guys to think of every single job as your big break because you never know what's going to come in. And if you're always waiting for some big break to come in around the corner, I feel like you're not really appreciating exactly what you're accomplishing in this moment. So treat every job like it's your big break. Building relationships is far more important than landing a huge job. The most successful models aren't the ones who never experience doubt. They're the ones who learn not to let doubt make their decisions. So, quickly before I let you guys go, watching my back over here, how to recognize doubt. There are going to be thoughts that start with, I'm too, I'm not, I don't have, I need to, I have to, and I can't. I need to lose weight before I audition. I need more education before I can be discovered. I'm too old. It's too expensive. I'm not confident enough. I don't have enough followers. I don't have enough experience. It's not the right timing. All of this is all doubt. Okay, so we want to shift it into empowering beliefs that start with I am. I am confident. I am ready. I'm good enough. I'm talented. I choose to show up. I choose to believe in myself. I can do this. I can make the time. I can make the effort. I can make the investment. And I get to show up and I get to be a part of this. And I get to be rejected because showing up and getting rejected or redirected or being told no, at least they saw you. At least they gave you some time. At least you were in that room. At least you faced an opportunity that could have turned into more, rather than never having shown up. So I think in retrospect, hindsight is 2020, right? I could have shown up for my runway audition, but I chose not to. I let the limiting beliefs win, and there's no going back now. Um, and also, I want to say being true to yourself too. If runway is not your thing, I've had plenty of agents tell me, no pressure, because it's just a small little facet of the industry. But if you can master your runway walk, you are opening yourself up to so much exposure, direct relationships with designers, with small brands, and just being kind of like on the scene, I guess. But lastly, I just threw this in because I was thinking about a lot of, where these beliefs stem from, where they come from. And this is a nice little exercise that you guys can do for yourself. I don't know when the last time is that you saw a picture of your younger self, but that is your inner child, and it represents curiosity, creativity, imagination, confidence before comparison was a thing, the courage to try something new. I could remember my show and tell days, how excited I was to get up in front of the class. And then somewhere along the way, as adults, we become a little bit different, a little bit jaded from experiences, and we have to deal with maybe fear and wondering if, we're good enough or if we have what it takes. So bring yourself back to that childhood-like energy where you were so confident and so resilient and um I guess everyone's childhood is a little different, but they say that that's what it represents. Um, that imagination, that innocence. So next time you feel doubt, look at that picture of your younger self and try to tap into that energy. So that brings us to the end of our workshop. I swear the spider was like this big. So now I'm concerned, but I'm gonna get through it. and we have a few moments for some questions. And I am here tomorrow night. Tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Trying to think of what workshop I'm teaching. At this point in time, I don't know. And I'm sorry about that, but check out the schedule and let me know if you can find the offering. Just how you signed up for tonight, you'll sign up for tomorrow if you want to reconvene and have another little pep talk. I've really enjoyed this hour with you guys and want to thank you guys for all of your participation and feedback. And let me know if this helped. I was taking notes the whole time and I learned a lot and I'm super excited. Aw. Thank you. I appreciate that. That was so heartfelt. You're so welcome. Oh my God, it's on your shoulder, creeping me out. Uh, if it's meant to be, I've had small successes that have given me confidence. Absolutely. This was a great class like your others. Thank you. I have 8 classes that I teach, that I lead, that I've created. So keep a lookout. I'm usually here about 4 times a month. And somebody asked, Eric, are there any tricks to getting rid of doubt? When the doubt creeps in, you just have to confront it and simplify it and say, where is this coming from? Is it true? And what I like to do to eliminate it is imagine like a little sword fight between the doubt and then the belief. Um, and what happens is you need to have an opposing thought ready. So if your thought and your doubt is about related to your age, let's say you started late in this industry. I'm one of them. I started when I was 26. Some people would say that that's late. Some people are later than me. Some people are earlier than me. So you can sit there and let doubt win and say, oh, okay, it's going to chatterbox in this ear. You're too old. You can't make it. Give up. Uh, the odds are stacked against you. Whatever doubts are cycling through, you need to bring your awareness to that thought and then create a response so that you can literally punch it, sword fight it when it creeps up. So it's really about having that awareness of what's happening in your mind and recognizing it and putting full stop to it when it gets there, when it arrives. And some, for example, your limiting belief could be, I'm older, but I started exactly when I needed to. Life circumstances didn't allow me to start early. What else? I've gained more wisdom. I'm sure of myself. I've had more life experiences where I'm at this current point in time, this age. I'm independent. I'm a father. It really depends. I have so many different skill sets now than I did when I was 16. And so there's no reason to believe that if I had started earlier, that I would be more successful. I'm confident that I'm in the right place at the right time. And this tug uh, that I'm experiencing that's pulling me towards this acting opportunity, this modeling opportunity is meant for me to follow. So I'm not going to get stuck on logistics of why or how or where or when. I'm just going to follow that tug. And my age is my strength. And this industry is home to so many different ages, so many different heights, ethnicities. So that would be your limiting belief. That would be your opposing thought to the limiting belief. And I hope that makes sense. But yeah, it's like sit down, write it all out. I'm more of like a paper and pen type of person. Write down every single doubt you have on one side of the page, and then on the right side of the page, what are the opposing thoughts that are going to help build momentum instead of shrinking and staying put. So I hope that helps answer your question. That was a really good question. Oh, tomorrow is photos that get you booked. Yeah, maybe it's portfolio building. So it's going to be about posing. We're going to look at a ton of portfolio pictures so you guys can understand how to start building a strong portfolio because we get booked off of our portfolio. Since the COVID times, I feel like showing up to castings is few and far between. We're always going to submit our portfolio online. So please pray for me with this spider. And hopefully, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Best of luck to you all and have a wonderful rest of your night. Thank you so much.